It was 8 a.m. on a Monday morning. I was a 25-year-old ambitious kid who loved computers, and I had just started my first technology services company. It didn't take me long to realize that the first order of business was to go find new clients. So during the day, I would work on networks and servers, and at night I would work on sales and marketing and HR and accounting. Over the next few years, I got to be pretty good at sales and marketing, and I even enjoyed the HR and accounting pieces of the business. But most importantly, I learned that I loved the business of business. That was really my passion. So over the next decade, the business grew slow and steadily. But it really wasn't the intentional or predictable or fast growth that I was looking for. So during this time, I really became a student of business to try to find out how we could improve. I also learned a lot of important lessons, life lessons, business lessons, some of them the hard way. I had to hire and fire. I had to lay off friends. We won government contracts and weathered Hurricane Katrina. In 1 year I fired 1,096 clients. That was 84% of our client base at the time. But at the same time, we grew our net profits. We also built our own building. I changed business models. I became a teacher and also found my own mentors. But unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. We were still growing at a snail's pace. My partners and I were becoming increasingly frustrated with each other and with the business. But I learned that, sometimes frustration can be a good thing. In fact, if it motivates us to make a positive change, it can be a very good thing. So that's exactly what it did. I decided to make a change. So the next question was just where to start. So I decided to start with our peer groups. We were part of a peer group, a marketing peer group that met quarterly. And one of those quarterly meetings was in Nashville at a national marketing conference. So at this conference, there was a group of business owners. They were called the Genius League. They were the top 10. Out of hundreds of companies in attendance, they were kind of the top 10. Now, unfortunately, I was not in the Genius League at the time, but a question was asked of them that day that would change my business and change my life. So during their discussion, someone asked them, what's the one piece of business advice or the one tip you can give us business owners to help us get where you are? What do you attribute your success to? Well, 4 out of the 10 businesses said the book Traction. They said, if you've not read it, go read the book Traction. It literally changed their businesses. Well, needless to say, I jumped on it. I went and found a copy and devoured it and realized that it was exactly what I needed. It was exactly the change that I needed to make. So if you're not familiar with the book Traction, it's a book written by Gino Wickman. And kind of like me, Gino was a young entrepreneur. At the age of 25, he found himself in control of the family business, and he realized pretty quickly that it needed to be turned around. But he also realized that his formal business education was kind of short on application while it was long on theory. So he took some of those business theories and over the next few years created processes and procedures and systems they could put in place to run his business, which he eventually called the entrepreneurial operating system. So it worked well. In fact, it worked so well that he ended up turning the business around and in a few years ended up selling it. At that time, he realized that he could help other people as other businesses started reaching out to him to kind of help them improve with a system he had put together. So he spent the next 16 years literally implementing it at thousands of businesses, working with companies all over the country. And he formalized all the EOS processes and wrote the book Traction. So I knew that was the solution to our problem, and I got copies of the book for my managers and my owners, my fellow partners. And as we started reading it, we knew it was a solution. The question was just, do we implement it ourselves or do we hire an implementer to help us? So I did some homework and started calling around, checking, talking to people who had implemented EOS, and found out that those who had self-implemented, while they were making progress, they weren't really making it as quickly as those who had hired an implementer. Those who hired an implementer seemed to be a little farther along with their processes, a little faster at improving, and maybe it was just because the implementer had experience and had the ability to hold them accountable. But we decided to hire an implementer, and I'll never forget our first EOS day. It was a January the 4th. It was cold, and we started IDSing. That's one of the processes that you go through, one of the tools that you use in EOS. IDS stands for Identify, Discuss, and Solve. And so we listed all the issues that we saw facing our business, and there were 68 issues on the board, which is a huge number. And we had committed the cardinal sin. We had been managing by consensus. In other words, my partners and I had all been equally responsible for management, which just simply doesn't work. So some of these issues on our board were 5, 6, 7 years old, and they just simply weren't getting resolved. So that day, we made some clear decisions, and we left the room with more than half of our issues resolved. That was when I knew that EOS was the way we would run our business always. So over the next few years, we used our implementer. It worked out well, worked out better than we expected. We were setting goals, we were achieving goals, and I was getting excited talking to other businesses about EOS. In fact, part of my job was to go out and talk to new clients and new prospects about their technology questions, their technology issues, trying to find out how technology could be used to solve their problems. Well, what I found out so much of the time was that these businesses had fundamental problems that EOS was the answer for. And so I was very excited to get to share with them EOS, help them implement EOS in their businesses. And that's when I realized that that was really my passion, helping other businesses improve by implementing EOS, really helping them get a grip on their business, help them getting what they always wanted out of their business. That's what EOS did for me, and now with great passion and excitement, that's what I get to help other businesses do. So if you're wondering if EOS is right for you, give me a call, give me an email, and I'd love to talk to you to find out if EOS is a solution to your problems, to see if it can help you to really get a grip on your business and meet your goals. So again, thank you. My name is Ryan Giles, and I hope to hear from you soon.